Hey guys, welcome to another episode of TLG Vlogs, and today we're going to talk about one of the craziest real estate transactions I had in my entire career. Let's get started. All right, so I was inspired to make this video. I see a lot of people on YouTube doing this, right? They talk about these crazy situations that they have, whether it was a crazy client or a crazy interaction or crazy something. And I was always kind of hesitant because I never wanted to talk about something that would like implicate something or, talk about something that, may or may have came back to me. And I was just never really comfortable sharing real detailed situations about my clients or situations. But a crazy marketing opportunity occurred about a year ago. And finally today it led to actually one of the biggest sales of our group's history. And actually one of the biggest sales in Bergen County history, just based on something that we did. And I'm just such a big advocate. If you listen to any of my YouTube videos, you'll hear me talk about marketing, right? Like everything works, everything matters, right? You have a lot of people that take the approach and say, you should do things this way. You should use, internet-based marketing, whether it's through Google, whether it's through YouTube. You have other people that say they cold-heartedly believe in, hardcore call marketing. You have other people that believe in print marketing, social media marketing. There's just so many ways to market yourself, and sometimes it can be super overwhelming, right? But, to the point that everything works and you really never know, right place, right time type of situations occurred to us about a year ago, and I want to share that story with you today. So, there was a high-end golf country club type of event that we were at. Honestly, it was really for the brand. One of my partners, invited me to the event, said, all right, if you want to spend a couple $1,000s, we could put you on display. You could have your own table. And honestly, if you're in my business or you're in any sort of business or you're an entrepreneur, these opportunities come to us weekly. People invite us to events. I thought because of the location of the event and the partner, it was really good for us to kind of partake in it. And I thought it'd be a really just overall good time and hang out with my team, right? We had all of us there, we had a great table. I thought there was gonna be good food and wine. And I thought it was gonna be a good event more than anything else, but never really thought it would lead to something. And I call that blanket marketing, right? You're just branding yourself to a mass majority of people at one fixed location. So we're having the event, we're having a great time. We have what I thought was a great spot there. We're talking to people are coming, they're grabbing some of our stuff, we're giving away free things. So conversation's super limited. They're coming to your table, they're going to the next. Didn't really think anything of it. And I'm standing there and a gentleman, I'm gonna call him Bob for the sake of this video, walks over to me and he asked me a very direct question. He said, who is the #1 agent at your company? And I chuckled. I said, well, obviously me, right? We have this great table, and it was true. We had the sales to prove it. He said, well, I have a client for you that has a very notable house in the Alpine area. I wouldn't disclose who it was, wouldn't disclose the house, wouldn't disclose anything. He said, do you mind if I have your contact information? I'd like to share it with you one day. And my partner was next to me and she was engaging with him as well. We were having the conversation and we said, of course. So I gave him the information. Bob walked away, didn't see Bob for the rest of the night. We laughed about it. I'm like, oh, I'm really curious, where's this house or who this person is or why, we weren't, getting much information on the spot. Forgot about it. Saved his number on my phone. I grabbed his, didn't want to bombard him, texted him that night, said, hey, this is Taylor, make sure you have the right number, etc. He said, thank you, talk soon. Story over. 3 weeks later, my phone rings. I'm in the office and it's Bob. And I said, wow, this guy's calling me. He calls me up. He said, Taylor, it's Bob from the event. I want to engage with you on giving us an evaluation on the sale of a home. And I said, of course. So we go over. At the time, once again, I didn't know the house. I didn't know the caliber of the house. He shares the address with me. We had to sign disclosures, not to share this stuff. And I'm all secretive and I'm in spy mode. I'm what house is this? How much is it worth, right? And I look up the estate and I was wowed. I knew of the house because of the caliber. I mean, for that area, it's up for debate that it was the #1 residential house in that entire town. And I was wow, they're thinking of me to sell this house. And I was floored, right? So we go over, we evaluate the house. One thing leads to another. They're engaging with a couple other people. Of course, anybody selling, for the sake of the video, we'll call it an $8 million estate, which is really almost a $10 million estate just because of the market and where it was. We were going to price it around 8. Interviewing some really great people, and I knew I was up against some really, really strong competition. We ended up securing and getting the listing. From date of meeting to what was last week, we ended up finally closing on that estate. Through the process, they bought a home as well. They bought a $3 million estate. So between the two transactions, we had about $10 million in business. And if you're somebody out there and you're watching this video, maybe you know what that means or maybe you don't know what that means, but to do an event that leads to a $10 million dual transaction is just mind-blowing. In my business, that's that never happens. That's stories that you hear about in a movie. Like, it doesn't really happen in real life. So it was just so amazing and powerful for me, because I think about over the last, let's say 6-7 years of all the things that we've done. And by far, just, I'm gonna call it, just from a single marketing channel result of something, undoubtedly the biggest turnaround that we've ever had from one thing. And, you know, I could do that event probably 7-8 times over for the next 10 years. That'll probably never, ever happen again. But the reason I'm sharing this with you is, you know, it's so important to set yourself up to win. And you just really never know. Like, I'm such a strong speaker when it comes to, like, you know, being presentable, being prepared. You know, when you're at a networking event or you're at somewhere, just being in the right mindset. It's so easy to get, like, lost in the sauce, right? Like, you know, go have a couple of drinks, have a good time with your people, have some food, walk around, not stay focused because, you know, you think it's just more of a, you know, just grab and go type of thing, but you just never know who's gonna walk up to you. You never know, you know, how prepared you have to be. You never know how engaged you have to be. You never know. And I was talking to the guy, you know, last week after everything's done and all the houses have now closed, and he said, buddy, how crazy is it that I picked you? And I didn't know you from a hole in the wall, and I met you randomly, you know, at that event. It was a year to date, from literally from the meeting to the closing between everything, which was like weird, literally like a week apart, almost 1 year. And I said, you know, I've got to make a video about this, because it was such just an interesting experience. It was such just like a powerful, impactful story. And I hope that inspires somebody to do something different. And I hope that inspires you next time somebody asks you to do something, you know, to set yourself up in the right way. Every single time you're at an event, present yourself, whether it's, you know, physically and what you're giving out, in the right way, because every single opportunity matters. So if you tuned into this video, I'm gonna ask you a question. If you could message me or comment, I'm curious. Do you guys want to hear more stories like this? Do you think you want to hear the crazy side of real estate? Do you want to hear, like, that client that just drove you up a wall and you wanted to quit that day? What is it that you guys want to hear? What is it that you're interested in? What is it that you're curious in? Do you want to be on the channel? Do you want to share a crazy story? Do you want to give us your story? Do you want to collaborate? What can we do to grow? But if you love this content, if you support this channel, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of TLG Vlogs. I'll see you guys next week.